Hello and good afternoon. My name's Don Harleth and you're watching World News coming live to you from Warsaw. Lithuania's government declared a state of emergency on Tuesday over frequent violations of its airspace by weather balloons used to smuggle cigarettes from Belarus. The country says that the Lukashenko regime is responsible as it fails to crack down on such incidents. And now joining us is Petras Ostrovicius, Lithuanian MEP at the Renew Group Europe. Sir, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us.
Afternoon.
Can you please tell us, what does this state of emergency mean for ordinary citizens, everyday people, and even those traveling to Lithuania?
Well, I mean, I have to probably correct the information. Since the government today decided to introduce extreme situation, it's a rather different protocol of reaction and the situation from emergency situation, which is the highest kind of before the war situation, so to speak. So extreme situation means that, in fact, will be very little impact on ordinary citizens, for those who travel or cross borders, since it's about better coordination among the state institutions. I mean, border guards, internal ministry, divisions, as well as militaries. And in fact, militaries are probably given most of the extra rights in this regard. Military units which will be patrolling streets or other parts of territory will be given the right to stop and detain if they have enough of evidence. So that's probably all what concerns novelties of that decision.
Okay, a little bit of a kind of information gaps here. We're all seeing various reports across medias that it is a state of emergency. Well, so what kind of powers does this extreme situation give to the government and to the military to tackle the problem?
Well, in fact, I mean, all it's done in order to crack down some, smugglers' rings which have been established and benefit because of those balloons carrying on over the border some, illegal tobacco products or whatever it is or might be. So that's why it's about the new kind of the situation with militaries. We might see more people in military uniform patrolling streets or some crossings, some particular regions of Lithuania. By the way, this situation is expanded all over the Lithuanian territory, so that's why it concerns each and every part of the country. But it's mainly about militaries, which will be subordinated to the Minister of Interior.
Okay, these airspace violations are being called hybrid attacks. Is Lithuania prepared to get more aggressive in responding or dealing with these hybrid attacks?
I think we have to be absolutely more efficient and using most probably asymmetric means of response. Because, I mean, shooting down those balloons, it's not necessarily each and every time best decision, since those balloons, they fly very high, and indeed military means which might be used to take them down might be expensive and have certain impact on civil population. So that's why we're still looking for most effective ones means, but definitely we are looking forward towards European Commission and European Union's stepping into this situation with more sanctions and giving a very clear, one-sided indeed signal to Lukashenko.
Okay, Petras Ostrovicius, Lithuanian MEP, thank you so much for clarifying all that for our viewers. Thank you.
Pleasure mine.
And now we go to the Czech Republic, where the country's president, Petr Pavel, has formally accepted Andrej Babiš as prime minister. Pavel refused to accept Babiš's nomination for weeks, citing concerns over conflict of interest arising from Babiš's ownership of Agrofert, one of the country's largest companies. However, Babiš has relinquished control over the business, putting the issue to rest. Our correspondent in Prague, Andrej Sweeney, reports.
Now that President Pavel has accepted the nomination of Andrej Babiš as Prime Minister, the formation of the Czech government can move into its endgame. What's still to come? Well, the nominees for various ministerial posts are still being interviewed by President Pavel. Most of them, in particular from the ANO party, are likely to pass without any real concern, including Anna Skelerova as Finance Minister and Lubomir Metnar as Interior Minister. However, it is the nominees made by the Motorist Party that are come under real scrutiny, in particular Petr Matzinka as the Foreign Minister and Filip Turek as Environment Minister, the latter of whom has been accused of harbouring pro-Nazi sentiments. Petr Pavel, who has the power to reject nominees, said that someone with the social media history of Turek is not fit enough to become a minister of the Czech Republic. So we may have just exchanged one stalemate for another. Once that government does come into place, however, we can expect the Czech Republic to become more Eurosceptic, to fall closer into line with the policies of Slovakia and Hungary, but with a bit more pragmatism. Babiš, after all, is a billionaire businessman, one of the richest in the Czech Republic. So the final hurdles are really being cleared, but there's still a few to go in the formation of a Czech government. For TVP World in Prague, Andrej Sweeney.
The European Commission has agreed to provide roughly 14 billion euro in funding for the construction of Poland's first nuclear power plant in Choczewo, near the Baltic coast. The news was reported by Polish media on Tuesday. In December last year, Poland asked the European Commission to approve public support for the project through a contract for difference, or CFD. When the request was published earlier this year, Brussels raised concerns that the CFD could distort the energy market. The Commission warned that the system might stop the plant's operator from reacting properly to market prices, which could make the power plant work less efficiently. Now the Commission has approved the plan. Poland can move ahead with loan agreements and sign the construction contract with the American consortium Westinghouse Bechtel. The first reactor is planned to be ready in the year 2036. Ukraine's sovereignty must be respected and its security guaranteed, wrote the President of the European Council Antonio Costa after the meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky on Monday. Costa added that the proposals of further support for Kyiv's defense have been put forth, and their goal is a strong Ukraine both on the battlefield and at the negotiating table.
As peace talks are ongoing, the EU remains ironclad in its support for Ukraine. Our financing proposals are on the table. The goal is a strong Ukraine on the battlefield and at the negotiating table. Ukraine's sovereignty must be respected. Ukraine's security must be guaranteed in the long term as the first line of defense for the EU. These priorities are at the center of our discussions with NATO's Secretary General.
Ukrainians have fought for nearly 4 years despite crippling Russian attacks on critical civilian infrastructure because they understand that losing the war would mean that their country would be ruled by Moscow, said Serhei Prytula, founder of the Serhei Prytula Charity Foundation. That's what he told TVP World.
We are staying strong previous 4 years, and Russia tried to destroy our critical infrastructure, to destroy our unity inside Ukrainian society, but we're still strong. And of course, we're bleeding every day, and we suffered, but we understand that this is not just Putin's war, like some people on some our West allies call it. That's the war not for some territories that Russia want to take. They have a lot of territories. They are the biggest country in the world. That's just a war where we have only two choices. One, to save our state, our independence, and another one to disappear, or to be a part of a Russian world. That's the same, that like to disappear as a nation, Ukrainian. So that's why everything very tough, everything complicated, but I think that Ukrainians will never give up, and we will fight anyway.
Hungarian Foreign Minister Piotr Szarto has just arrived in Moscow for talks, according to the Russian news agency TASS. TASS reports that while in Moscow, the Hungarian official is set to take part in a meeting of the Russian-Hungarian Intergovernmental Commission on Economic Cooperation. Szarto was in Moscow less than 2 weeks ago when he made the trip with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban to meet with Russia's Vladimir Putin. Hungary is one of Russia's closest allies in Europe. Following the last meeting between Hungarian and Russian officials, it was Szarto who announced that the trip was successful in securing continued supplies of Russian oil and gas to Hungary. Donald Trump said on Monday he'll have to see what percentage of the market Netflix and Paramount will have before deciding on whether their purchase of Warner Brothers Discovery violates anti-monopoly laws. His comment comes after Paramount launched a hostile takeover offer for the company, backed by a group of investors, including Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner.
I know the companies very well. I know what they're doing, but I have to see what percentage of market they have. We have to see the Netflix percentage of market, Paramount, the percentage of market. I mean, none of them are particularly great friends of mine. You know, I want to do what's right.
And that concludes this edition of World News. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and hope to see you next time. Goodbye.